At the wheel of the 2016 Subaru Crosstrek on a Northern California backroad, I saw many cars bearing the Pleiades-laden Subaru badge on their grills. It felt a bit like being in a club, not very exclusive but distinct nonetheless. The typical Subaru driver ostensibly enjoys the beauty of nature, making time for hiking, mountain biking and kayaking. The stereotype suggests coexisting with the environment, not dominating it. The Crosstrek, a more recent entrant to the Subaru lineup, maintains this ethos, bolstering the ground occupied by the Outback and Forester. Although sporting SUV style, the Crosstrek's size makes it feel more like a wagon. Dropping 7 inches in overall length and 4 inches in height compared to Subaru's next model up, the Forester, the Crosstrek shows off an approachable, urban footprint and a sporty look. The doors open wide, allowing easy cabin accessibility, but I wasn't crazy about the leather, or leather-like, material covering the seats in the limited trim version I drove. At 22.3 cubic feet with the rear seats up, the Crosstrek's cargo area comes in at about 10 cubic feet less than that of the Forester. Earlier this year, I drove the Crosstrek on a short off-road course, a dirt track with intentional mud puddles and ruts. Although the Subaru representative in the passenger seat advised me to steer around the worst of it, I was impressed with what the little Crosstrek could handle. Thank its 8.7 inches of ground clearance, the same as its bigger SUV siblings, for letting me sink a tire into a mud pit and then escape. The Crosstrek's standard all-wheel drive helped the wheels find the grip they needed to keep me going. And although I had to make a couple of tries getting up a slick hill, I eventually got to the top. That Crosstrek, and the one I drove for this review, came with a continuously variable transmission, CVT, mated to the 2-liter engine. With the CVT, Subaru uses a different all-wheel drive system compared to Crosstreks equipped with the available 5-speed manual transmission. CVT models get an electronically managed system, which actively moves torque between front and rear axles based on traction and throttle input. Manual versions use a mechanical system that only responds to wheel slip. With either all-wheel drive system, Subaru doesn't let you lock the differential for a 50-50 torque split, although setting the vehicle dynamics control switch in its off position helps equalize torque distribution. The Crosstrek uses Subaru's horizontally opposed 4-cylinder engine, a flat 4, which presents a lower center of gravity than an inline 4. In this application, it makes 148 horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque, and turns in EPA estimated fuel economy of 26 mpg city and 34 mpg highway. Although the power numbers don't look terribly impressive, the CVT and throttle tuning made the Crosstrek eager to take off from a start. In city driving, its acceleration is more than ample. The CVT exhibits some of the qualities that give this type of transmission a bad name. The engine note doesn't always coincide with acceleration, and power delivery feels bandy at times. In my driving, the EPA numbers seemed overly optimistic, as I barely made the city number on the highway, while actual city driving put my average in the low 20s. Your mileage may vary, but I didn't feel like I was being aggressive on the throttle. The steering isn't particularly sharp, but then again, it shouldn't be for this type of vehicle. The slightly slow response from the wheel perfectly suits a comfortable highway cruise. That comfortable theme runs through to the ride quality as well, with the suspension nicely damping out bumps and rough pavement. I could see taking the Crosstrek for an extended road trip.
All three have oversized wings and 4-cylinder turbo engines, but in most other regards they are different, as this review from the Straight Pipes points out. The STI got a facelift for 2018, but it still makes 305 horsepower, which is ever so slightly less than the Civic. However, the Type R is the only car here without AWD, yet it compensates with the fastest hot hatch lap time around the Nürburgring. Despite its age, the RS is still the fastest in a straight line, and it comes with drift mode, an impressive feature. Dual, triple and quad, you've got every type of exhaust here. However, the Focus RS sounds the best with the fused pipes, while the Civic looks cool but doesn't do the oral stuff as well. While we're in the hardware department, check out the Brembo brakes, which every car has. We like how the guys didn't go for a traditional review style. Track days aren't for everybody, and for every second spent there, you're going to be stuck for an hour in traffic. Have the coolest headlights, the best looking shifter or the reddest seat belts, and you just might put off committing suicide by boredom. Obviously, all three cars have a huge following already. But it's the Type R that drew the most attention at a car meet. Everybody wants one, and for good reason. Honda made the best daily driver, even though it's not as exciting or direct as its competitors. But there's nothing wrong with being a hardcore STI fan. For 2018, the sedan has a much better interior quality, and the 2.5-liter is a tried and tested workhorse.
There was a poster in the bedroom of my youth that said, "If it's too loud, you're too old." The Subaru WRX is too loud, and I'm too old. At its best, the tamer wingless sibling of the STI with the shameless hood scoop does exactly what it's intended to do: give enthusiasts a tactile visceral ride inspired by Subaru's off-road racing success. It's easy to modify, has all-wheel drive stability, packs a turbo punch, has 4 doors, is durable and reliable, and most importantly, it is affordable. All of these positives make it an ideal entry-level sports car. But it comes at the expense of this thing more appreciated with age: comfort. After 500 miles on the highway in the refreshed WRX with stiff Recaro race seats and a notchy 6-speed manual, I just wanted a lousy boy in my dad's pipe. To be fair to Rex, I was driving on a construction-riddled, semi-filled tortuous stretch of highway. The road noise and ride quality were more bearable on smoother roads, but Rex is by design best suited for people who like to drive hard with the radio up and the windows down, as I once did not too long ago. There is a cool club factor to the Rex. Base price, $29,295, fueled by a band of die-hard loyalists, the same who will probably light me up on Reddit. The Tester in premium trim came in the coolest shade of blue known to cars, a rich hue Subaru calls Pearl Blue. Changes included a refreshed grille with a larger lower grille that appears to stretch the front horizontally, so it looks lower and meaner. Premium trim comes standard with 18-inch wheels wrapped in summer performance rubber. Subaru says there is more noise deadening, and the front and rear suspension has been retuned for a bit more comfort, a nod to my fellow curmudgeons. It's a fine line to keep enthusiasts enthused, however, so Subaru erred on the side of fun. The Boxer engine remains the same, churning out 268 horsepower. It has a taunting growl underscored by a supersonic turbo whir, like an aggressive and persistent little dog on speed. It's a pleasing note that demands to be unleashed. Handling is excellent, though the steering is not as direct as I expected. Improvements were made to smooth out the clutch response, but it's still demanding. If the clutch is the leash on this dog, it's a short one that yanks too easily. The gearbox itself demands the kind of intent reserved for large construction vehicles. It wants to be yanked and thrown hard. The manual is work, and some drivers will love it because of that. By the end of the week, we had a rapport down and there was some charm to getting to know it, if not quite taming it. Subaru has made improvements to the inside as well, though the updated multimedia system still feels outdated. There are 2 screens, including a vehicle info monitor recessed deep in the dash above the center console like a reversed hood scoop. It's an 1.5 inches larger, but still goofy. And the touch screen below it felt as old as I did. If there's one knock on Subaru, it's here. Best compact sedans of 2017 are much more than budget buys. The performance package for $2,050 includes Recaro seats with an 8-way adjuster for the driver. I've been more comfortable in other Recaros. I'm not sold on the value. The package also adds red calipers and upgraded brake pads, and deletes the moonroof to shave weight. I had fun with the WRX around town, but it got to be a bit much for extended highway trips. If you like a visceral ride and are tempted by hard driving, then the refreshed WRX will tune your heart.